also selected by the Young Presidents Organization, an international group of presidents. Well, hi everybody. I want to thank Rabbi Korupkin for the invitation. It's a great credit to your organization, and I'll explain why in a moment. And Rabbi Adelstein, it is always a joy to be with him. In fact, he said that when they got the phone call from someone to the right, how can you have somebody with liberal Jews of the Torah? He looked at me and said, they meant me. Yes, in any event, Rabbi Kalinsky and all of you, it is a big deal for me. I said yes immediately upon this invitation, and it was before the current controversy with regard to Islam, the Quran, the Bible, and so on. I just want to put that aside for a moment. You're certainly free to ask me about it. I can be accused of many things, and some of them are even accurate. But I cannot be accused of intolerance toward other religions. It's a magnificent lie. Rabbi Adelstein and I met when I was the moderator of Religion on the Line. And if there's anything everyone of every faith knew, including Islam, in fact, I was the one who opened the media to Muslims. So much so that they honored me with invitations to speak at mosques. I was also selected by the Young Presidents Organization, an international group of presidents and companies, to moderate in Abu Dhabi, in the United Arab Emirates, a Jewish-Christian-Muslim dialogue, because they knew how fair I would be to members of every faith. My whole argument, and in the first article I wrote, I had 2 lines which I regret having written, but that's the way it is in life. You don't bat 1,000. But my entire argument was not about the Quran and Keith Ellison. It was about the dropping of the Bible. And we Jews, and this is a big part of this issue for me, but it's not why you invited me. I just want to explain, though. If we Jews think that we are secure in America because of the Constitution rather than because of the Bible, we are fools. We are fools, by the way. Of all the ethnic groups in America, there's no doubt in my mind we are the most foolish. The positions that Jews take are so self-destructive so often that it is mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. I sit in awe at our capacity to self-destruct. The number of Jews on campuses, and professors and students, who support Palestine Week, where atrocities are imputed to a Jewish state. The Jewish professors at Brandeis University who are collecting money to bring Jimmy Carter to speak at Brandeis University. The list is endless of Jewish foolishness. We are not secure primarily because of the Constitution. The Soviet Union had just as liberal a Constitution as we do. It guaranteed freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech. It, in fact, was the only constitution in the world to ban anti-Semitism. What they didn't have in the Soviet Union were values. They had great laws. This notion that we are secure because of the Constitution, but not because of the Christians who believe that we are the chosen people, and that this is a Judeo-Christian country, is an astonishing ignorance on the part of the Jews of America. So if we want to become just another ethnic group, then let's get rid of the Bible as central to America's value system. That was what I wrote about, and it is, I stand by that. He has a perfect right to swear on any book he wants. I am fully cognizant of that. There was a line I wrote where he should not be allowed to. I wish I had written it with different verbs. He should be persuaded not to drop the Bible is what I should have written. So be it. But my whole issue has been the centrality of Judeo-Christian values. For those of you who have a problem with the term Judeo-Christian, it doesn't mean Judeo-Christian theology. There is no Judeo-Christian theology. But there are Judeo-Christian values. Now let me deal with me and Orthodoxy. That's what I was invited to talk about, and it gives me great joy to do so. Let me first say the following on behalf of Orthodoxy. Number one, I was raised Orthodox, and I went to yeshiva till I was 18 and Masifta afterwards. And it is I thank God for that upbringing and for that yeshiva experience. I don't regret a minute of it. It was wonderful. Number two, I don't speak to different groups with different ideas. I praise Orthodoxy frequently, and you can see this in print. I've been a columnist for the national Jewish magazine Moment for many years, and I wrote about how, for example, it was the Orthodox who did not cancel trips to Israel for its youth during the height of terror in Israel. The Reform canceled all their trips, the Conservative canceled many of their trips, and the Orthodox canceled none of their trips. To me, when push comes to shove, that's a big statement. By the way, I have a theory as to why that happened, and it will go to the heart of what I want to talk to you about. But please know, this is what I say behind your backs. This is what I say on radio, and this is what I write in journals that are secular. So please know that. Number three, I always state that for me, the issue is not Orthodox conservative reform. It is serious and non-serious. I have said this my whole adult life. That's my division among Jews. Are you a serious Jew or are you not a serious Jew? The great majority of serious Jews are Orthodox. I say this at conservative synagogues, I say this at Reform temples, I say this at Federation events, and so on. So now that I have established that with you, let me speak from the other side. You didn't invite me to tell you how terrific you are. Nor did you invite me to tell you how terrible you are. You're not. The collective Orthodox world has spectacularly wonderful things. But I'm asked all the time, in light of that, why am I not? And while I'm not, that's a lecture unto itself. Let me explain certain things that I find that I just can't accept. Because we do start with something, and this is the theme that I want to emphasize. We do start with something that you have to acknowledge. On the great moral issues of life, you and I are in agreement probably 99% of the time. On the great social issues and moral issues, we share values. That's big. You don't share values with most Reform Jews. The fact is, the average Orthodox Jew and the average, or even better, Orthodox rabbi and Reform rabbi share almost nothing. You are members of the same people, but beyond that, you share nothing. You would share the same gas chamber, but that's irrelevant. There aren't gas chambers right now, and it's a very odd thing to say, well, if Hitler came, he put us both in gas chambers. Yes, so what? That's hardly a commonality. There is a huge division within Jewish life in terms of values. In terms of values, you don't share a lot with many conservative rabbis. Some yes, some no. The conservative movement has just spoken about rabbinic commitment ceremonies for same-sex couples, and this is not something that Orthodoxy accepts. Incidentally, I think you turned out to be right, even though I could not. I knew you would be right, but I couldn't argue against it, and that is the ordination of women. You turned out to be right. Just in case I don't have enough trouble with the media, let me just add that I don't think that in sum total, with some wonderful, precious exceptions, of course, and without impugning in any way the sincerity of these women, the adding of vast numbers of females to the Christian and Jewish clergy has not been a great help to those religions. Because women bring gifts that are different than what clerical leadership needs to bring. Women prefer compassion to standards, and clergy have to prefer standards to compassion. And to put it in a nutshell. So, in having said all that, let me tell you the premise here, and I know I want to be as brief as possible. I am as interested hearing Rabbi Adlerstein